Welcome to another edition of Community Conversations. I'm Laura Wagoner, your host. In my community affairs role at Villanova University, I've met many exceptional people doing great work, from university professors and leaders of service organizations to law enforcement officials and township commissioners. The goal of this program is to provide you, the viewers, a monthly glimpse of the people making headlines at Villanova and across the township. Today I'll introduce you to two people that play an instrumental role in helping make Villanova University and the surrounding community the special place that it is. Sergeant Pete Assenmacher and Daren Swain. Sergeant Assenmacher has been with the Lower Merion Police for 30 years. He currently serves as Sergeant of the Special Operations Unit, overseeing the bike unit and highway enforcement team. Daren Swain has been employed as a police officer with Lower Merion Township Police since 2012. During his tenure, Daren has spent approximately 6 years in the patrol division before being reassigned to bicycle patrol within the Special Operations Unit. Daren is also trained as a standard field sobriety test instructor and assists in training fellow officers. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
So I gave a brief intro, but can you both talk a little bit about your background with the Lower Merion Police? Daren, if you'd like to begin.
As you've already advised our viewers, I've been here since about 2012. And now that I'm reassigned to the bike unit, some of my responsibilities have changed as opposed to what I've experienced in patrol. But the general concept of what we have to do as far as police officers are build connections with the community, and that's something that has maintained throughout my career. Prior to my career here, I was at Penn State University with University Police. So
wow.
yeah. So definitely,
you've seen it all.
I've seen similar things as to what we've experienced with Villanova students, and I enjoy working with the students. I enjoy helping to encourage them to just maintain positive relationships with the community. Mm-hmm. And that's primarily what we've been doing in the bike unit and as part of special operations.
That's great. Pete?
In my 30 years here in Lower Merion, I've had an opportunity to interact with all types of people and do all types of different jobs within the department. We first started our bike patrol in 1996, and I was a member of that unit. We have always had emphasis with Bryn Mawr and trying to deal with some of the student issues that we have in relation to the community. Since then, I've also been an instructor within our department. I've taught officers firearms, use of force, tactics, all that type of stuff. I was promoted. I was a sergeant patrol for a number of years, and about 3 years ago, I was named the sergeant of the Special Operations Unit, overseeing the bike unit and highway enforcement team. Our bike unit still has a large active role in dealing with students in the community in Bryn Mawr, in the Bryn Mawr section of the township.
And how many colleges and universities are in Bryn Mawr?
In Bryn Mawr itself, we have Bryn Mawr College, Villanova, which technically is not in the township of Lower Merion, but we deal with a large volume of students with off-campus housing. Haverford College has a part of the township as well. And then on the eastern side of the township, we have St. Joe's as well.
Okay.
So.
And Rosemont?
Yeah, Rosemont College.
Rosemont College, yep.
Wow, so that's a lot. You guys have a lot of students living in Bryn Mawr. Mm-hmm. And can you talk to me about certain behaviors that are common in college town communities?
All three of us here have been to college, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers have. So traditionally in college town, young adults transitioning into adulthood, mm-hmm. And it's a lot that's thrown at them at one time. So a lot of times what we tend to see is, we'll see alcohol use, which is okay, obviously in moderation. We'll see, students having parties. We'll see just, camaraderie, fraternizing. But sometimes the ways that students have done these things at times have been maybe infringing upon what the residents would want to see from their community. Mm-hmm. So that's where we see somewhat of a clash or a disconnect, and that's what we're trying to reinforce and reestablish.
There's also a safety aspect, especially for the students mm-hmm. within Villanova. Again, this is the first time out of the house for a lot of the students from Villanova, and they're living on their own and experiencing what it's like to live on their own. And when it comes to alcohol use and things of that nature, there can be a safety aspect that we try to make sure that they're as safe as possible and that they're not too out of hand, and for their own safety and the community's safety as well.
And these are issues that across, every school, every college, university in the world, right? This is not just happening at Villanova.
Absolutely. This is typical for a college town. You have a college town, you're going to have bars, you're going to have students that are supportive of their sports teams and very enthusiastic about that. It's across the board. And as a police department, we just want them to understand that we're also here to service the community and help guide them to the transitional stage they need making it into adulthood.
Okay. So you mentioned sports teams. Our basketball team is okay.
Yeah, at the very least, okay, yeah.
Were you a part of either of the preparation for either national championship with Radnor Police and the university? Or were you more in the community?
Well, during the second championship, I had responsibility that night for policing the area of Lancaster and I guess would be Roberts from the area, Kelly's Bar, where we dealt with the students in the celebratory event afterwards. So we did have some input into the policing on that night. Again, just what was in our township.
And would you say for the most part, our students were pretty well behaved?
I went accordingly. We, expected to go as it did. I don't even know if necessarily. There's also the people from the community that will come down to celebrate as well, and people just enthusiastic about Villanova basketball. So I'd say overall it went according to plan, and most of the students just went out to celebrate and did that.
There were no issues of note that night. The one issue we had was someone was lighting off fireworks in the crowd. That was. I don't even believe it was the students from Villanova. Again, this might have been other outsiders that came in.
So talk to me about community harmony, which is a big aspect of Lower Merion Township Police Department and the township itself.
So you've obviously you've gone numerous times with us, and what we do is we go to different residential properties within the township where students are living off campus. We talk to the students about ways they can maintain the peace or harmony between themselves and the community. A lot of things that we encourage with that are just being mindful of noise, being mindful of trash, things that they would normally do as adults in society, but they just have to maybe reconfigure their minds to, I'm transitioning into adulthood. My parents are going to do these things. I have to do these things as an adult. So we try to just encourage them to be neighborly and also to just, we're here as a police department to service the community. So we're here for them as well if they would need help. Also, we want to remind them of safety concerns, especially going down to the bar districts. It might be better off walking in groups. And just, you can have fun, good fun, as long as it's not impeding upon, the residential needs of the community.
Sure.
As long as you keep the community in the loop, the neighbors in the loop, they shouldn't have a problem. And we want to have positive interactions with the students and with the community as well.
Our community harmony program has been in existence since the late 90s, early 2000s, and we've been doing this every year in an attempt to get out, just to have face contact with the students so they know what's going on. We also make contact with a lot of the residents that are also out there on the same days, again, so they don't see us in the typical police role that a lot of students may be used to. So and we go back for numerous other events and try and, again, make sure they see us in another light other than just the enforcers that are out there on a weekend, and that is part of our job as well. But during community harmony, we try to reach them at a different time so they can see some of the issues that we deal with year after year after year.
So is the mobile bike unit specifically for going out Thursday, Friday, Saturday night and talking with our students or policing if needed?
It's one of our thrusts in the community. One of the things we do is go out dealing with that, but we try to be as present as we can with the bike unit in all commercial areas throughout the township.
And is that common at other schools, or is that just something you guys have?
I think a lot of police departments are, if they haven't already, they're transitioning to have a bicycle patrol unit to supplement patrol. It's a great way in general, for us to be a part of the community and to, meet people and be approachable. Sometimes with the patrol uniforms, everything's shiny, everything's, if the hat tilted low, sometimes, maybe children or different members of the community could feel that, could feel intimidating. which is not meant to be. It's meant to seem, to be a professional. And the difference with our uniforms is I feel like there's a more of a connectivity between us and the community, where they feel like they can approach us with different concerns they have.
Sure.
And especially the kids, they love to see us out on the bikes, riding around. We hand out stickers, and
Oh, that's nice.
it's very rewarding to more than anything else to see the children and how they respond to us when we're riding around the community.
That's so nice. So we touched on it a little bit. Since I've joined the team 2 years ago at Villanova, this group and our departments have worked together in various capacities, one of those being off-campus housing and the Good Neighbor Guide, with a focus on noise, trash, and litter. We partnered with you as well as Radnor Township Police on several programs, including a barbecue at home properties and the off-campus housing resource fair on campus. So with hundreds of student attendees at those events, what type of interactions did you guys have, takeaways, and can you talk about, your one-on-ones with the students?
So
You were very popular at the off-campus housing resource fair. I know there was a lot of students in the mascot taking photos with you.
yeah, we had a lot of fun, and I think a lot of students enjoyed coming up to us and maybe even just asking simple questions. How are some ways that we can be safer when we go downtown, or what are some of the ways that we can get involved in the community, things like that. And my goal was just to kind of point them in the right direction or give them advice on things that I was able to help them with. And they just liked, being able to socialize with a police officer in a less, adversarial or a authoritative setting.
Sure.
And so it was beneficial.
Sure. Doesn't hurt that we had free food and
Oh, yeah, it doesn't hurt,
and
yeah.
T-shirts and
Free food and music
giveaways.
will do that, yeah. That doesn't hurt.
Pete, did you have some great interactions?
Well, the interactions at the events that they had, one of the ones I find more interesting is about parking, how parking is an issue. Well, it kind of becomes a thing, welcome to the real world for a student, that yes, parking is an issue everywhere, from Villanova's campus to Lower Merion Township in general. Parking is an issue, so it is something for them to kind of learn to deal with as they grow up.
Sure. And what impact do you see these initiatives having on the students themselves? You mentioned, speaking to a police officer in less of a scary situation or adversarial, more just less discipline.
Right.
Do you think that has a positive impact?
I think it does. I mean, obviously the nature of our jobs, there is the possibility that we have to be authoritative at times. We have to be direct at times, and we have to assert ourselves at times. And we also, at times, we have to be able to listen and receive, what the community is willing to advise us of, ways that we can help. So we're trying to, what I've seen is that it's been beneficial overall for us to be able to fraternize with the students. At least they can, feel comfortable approaching us with any concerns they have, and we can do the best we can within our authority or within our power to see that the community is experiencing a harmonious environment between the students and, yeah, I like how I tied that in there, between the students and between the community. So I feel like it's been a very good thing.
That's great.
And it is some of the students that we deal with during Community Harmony we'll see on the streets on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, whatever it may be. And they're like, oh, we just met. And it's like, yes, it brings them into a different light with us. So
That's
it is
great.
a good thing.
So have you worked with any other colleges or universities on these initiatives? Daren, when you were in Penn State, did they have a program with their town?
They had a, they had a similar program called the, police officers, law enforcement, we love acronyms. So there was the NEAT program. I think it was a Neighborhood Enforcement Alcohol Team. Neat, yeah, neat. And we generally we went to a lot of the off-campus housing. There were more fraternities off-campus and apartments as well in the State College borough area, and we would collaborate with State College police officers to maybe talk to the students ahead of time. Similar kind of aspect as Community Harmony, and just advise them on ways they can be safe and ways they can maintain the peace amongst themselves and the neighbors. And that was I felt like that was a very beneficial program as well. It also gave us an opportunity to work with the local police jurisdictions that will also encounter Penn State students. And that's just the extent of what I've been involved in with Penn State. And then I was able to use that kind of information for the way that we kind of interact with the Villanova students.
Okay, that's great.
We've interacted with other schools here within Lower Merion Township. We have one of the goals of our department has to deal with active shooters and violent offenses and that type of stuff. So we're actually familiar with some of the campus facilities that are throughout the township, so all the officers are aware. So it is one of the other, not necessarily community harmony, but it is something we do with other universities within the township.
That's great. Once a semester, Villanova hosts what we call a campus community dialogue meeting, where various departments on campus, students, community leaders get together, and we talk about issues, within the campus, outwardly facing with campus and our community. And recent discussions have focused on alcohol-related student behavior. We've generated some great action steps from those meetings, including some of the initiatives we've spoken about today. What are your takeaways from these meetings, and how do you think we could build upon these efforts?
So what I've been able to take away is that I feel like overall the serious quality of life issues, or the serious issues that would require police intervention or emergency services, they've seemed to have gone down somewhat in the Bryn Mawr area. That could be possibly attributed to the use of Ubers and and also it could be attributed to our efforts as far as getting out information about going together in groups, not binge drinking, just different initiatives that we've tried to implement with Villanova University. And I see that there's been it seems to me that there's been a change, just me being active in patrolling those areas. I feel like the students overall have a different mindset, most of them anyhow, as far as we're going to go have fun and then we're going to get home safely, and that's the goal.
Yeah, that's kind of you to say.
And it's actually, I believe those meetings are good because it takes people out of the typical environment where they're calling us because there's something that just happened. At these events, at least you're getting the community out with some of the student leadership and that type of stuff. And they're all very amenable to being spoken to those days and getting different things out in the air. So
yeah, I think it's very helpful that we have, our Dean of Students office, our police department, my office, government and community relations. We have our facilities department, and just having, as you said, student government is there. We have representatives from Mainline Health, the large apartment complexes in the area, and just having those conversations where we can all get together, twice a year to talk about issues, and then having proactive steps, I think, has been very, as you said, maybe behavior is hopefully getting better in the community, and our students are realizing not everyone is 18 to 22.
Right, yeah.
Which is part of becoming an adult. So we have another event coming up in April. This is an event first of its kind, where we're partnering with your department, the Township, and Tin Lizard Brewing Company in Bryn Mawr, where we're going to provide free barbecue and a complimentary beer to students 21 and over. Present at this event will be some of the departments I just named: Dean of Students, my office, student involvement, and Lower Merion. We have, the goal of this is to have, those one-on-one conversations with students. This is the first time we are going to serve them a beer. So do you guys have any thoughts on, how that helps the situation, sort of treating them as adults, and whether that's the most effective way?
I feel like it helps put in perspective like responsibility. We do see you as an adult. As long as you are able to, the students are able to handle themselves in a adult manner, which, giving them a beer is a way that they can feel that they're a part of the community and feel that they can, have a sit down and talk with law enforcement. I feel like that kind of brings home the responsibility aspect of it. Most of the students are very responsible, and I feel like that would actually serve as a way to maybe break some barriers that they may have when they want to approach law enforcement.
I agree with Daren that some students give all the other students a bad name, because you're going to have some that, yes, they will be binge drinking, all of that type of behavior that is out there. Given them one beer, they should not have an issue, and it should be a kind of a welcoming to adulthood. They should be able to interact and respond to adults in an adult-like way before they graduate from school, so they know how to act appropriately once they get out into the real world.
So we talked a lot about student behavior so far. Do you guys want to give an update on sort of what Lower Merion Police is working on now, 6 months from now, in the future? Do you guys have any initiatives that you're working on yourselves?
We're working with you closely to these initiatives to hopefully help out in the community of Bryn Mawr, dealing with the students, because the students seem like they've been here for my 30 years that I've been here, and it doesn't seem like they're going away. So it is an issue that we're going to hopefully keep and be as proactive as we can in dealing with them. And an event like the one at Tin Lizard should hopefully help, again, get us out there with them and so they can see us in that different light.
Sure. Do you see now that we've moved about 1,000 students back on campus that there are less students in the community and therefore less issues?
There seems to be maybe less issues overall. I feel like it's still the same number of students that frequent our jurisdiction for social things, but I feel like at least the beginning of the semester, especially when we are out and about and with Community Harmony, and I feel like the students are really, they're able to receive that information and go about accordingly, and not just destroy the town or just trash everything. They're being more responsible, I would say, overall.
Good.
It appears as if some of the student rental properties are having a more difficult time in renting, because when we do go out and do our Community Harmony, we know which houses are actually registered as student rentals. And at some point in the end, if there's no one there, it's not being rented out to students, we do report back to our building and planning, and let them know that those houses are not being rented to students at this time. And that may have something to do with the revocation of their status, depending on how long it takes to have a student in there.
Yeah, so is it a 1 year, you have 1 year to fill it, or?
I'm not sure if it's 6 months or a year, but there is a time frame that it has to be done within.
So if you are, talking to our viewers right now who may be students at Villanova or other colleges or going to college, what advice would you give them?
I would just give them be responsible. This is an opportunity. Some of the things that you'll learn in the classroom may not always prepare you for what you'll learn as someone transitioning into adulthood. So I'd say lean on people that have been through things already. Be willing to receive advice. Be willing to adjust if needed, and have fun. Enjoy college. Just do so responsibly, and you won't see us very often in a negative capacity if that's the way you handle business.
Sure.
So, as a parent myself, please be careful what you're putting on different social sites like Barstool Nova. Some of the things are kind of dangerous that I've seen out there. So, again, we do concern ourselves with student safety, everybody's safety.
Sure.
So.
Well, I want to thank both of you for being on the show today. One last question. When you're not being a police officer, what do you do in your spare time?
Most of my spare time is filled with taking care of my 3 kids and basically just staying in the house. We don't get out too much. When we do get out, we just enjoy just being active and going to the playground. It's pretty much going on family vacations, but that's pretty much what I'm doing when I'm not at work. I'm locked into my family, and I enjoy that. So
great.
My personal life is past the stage of children at home, as my wife and I are now empty nesters, so we spend a lot of time with the dog and catching up on Netflix. So,
what are you binging right now?
The Pharmacist.
Oh, yeah, I heard it's good. Okay. Well, I would like to thank Pete and Daren for participating in today's show. We look forward to next month's show as we introduce you to other individuals making news and positively impacting the communities around us. For more information on some of the great things happening at Villanova and opportunities to be involved, please visit www.villanova.edu/neighbors.